Thanks for coming and welcome. The idea of this evening is that for some of you, you will have already had made a decision in your mind and you know that floristry is the right career change or course option for you. And then for some of you, you've already decided that you know that floristry is where you want to be. And so it's about looking at what are the different course options and working out who's the best provider and what is the best course that's the option for you to be able to move forward in your dreams and goals with floristry. And then I know that there's also a number of you here this evening that are wondering whether floristry is for you or not. And so essentially the aim of tonight is so that you can have some answers, or at least be closer to answering those questions. So there's going to be opportunity to ask lots of questions this evening, and we're going to cover off as much detail of the course as we possibly can, without keeping you here till midnight, of course. So we will wrap it up as quickly as we can, so that we've got plenty of time for you to be able to talk to us one-on-one and ask some questions as well. And if not all of you, but most of you will also know that we do have some incentives for you this evening as well, because for those, especially if you know floristry is for you, then we want to reward you for stepping outside what can be sometimes outside of your comfort zone into sometimes a scary area of making a change. Majority of us don't like to have to make change, but we want to, and so we will want to reward you on making that change, because one of the things that we do know, and we hear from many students, they'll say, I wish I had have done this years ago. That's what they'll say at the end of the course as they're graduating. They'll say, I'm so glad that I made and I pushed myself to do it, but what I wish I had have done was do it earlier. But we congratulate them because they've done it. What we don't want is for anybody to be in a nursing home wishing that they had have done it, and at that point they feel it is too late. So as I said, we congratulate you on taking that action towards getting to that fulfilling and rewarding career that floristry is. So I'm sorry I haven't introduced myself yet. My name's Yvette, and I'm the founder of Bloom College. And I look forward to introducing the rest of the team. So we've got Amanda here, who is our tech expert. So she's going to help with that tonight in particular. and we have Natalie as well over here, and Nicole up the back. Wave to Nicole, and Alyssa as well up the back. And then we also have Georgie Stanton as part of our team as well. Georgie's, I think, on her way to Santorini at the moment, so good old Georgie getting away from this weather. So we're going to, as I said, run through the different components of the course, what it entails, and cover off as many questions as you might possibly have. So to give you a little bit of an overview of the course and why this course has been put together. So as I said, my name's Yvette, and I have been in floristry for 28 years. I was fortunate enough to know during school that that's what I wanted to do, and I've deviated a little bit by studying business and marketing and other different things, but and had lots of other side jobs, especially as an apprentice to fund myself. But essentially, I knew it was my love back then, and it continues to be today. So in fact, myself and Natalie were just having a conversation today how we need to get back more into doing a lot more floristry and equaling out our teaching as well. So we love teaching, but of course we still love floristry as well, and being part of the industry. So for me, I've gained a lot out of floristry. It's, as I said, it is one of the most rewarding and fulfilling careers because it covers off so many different aspects. You get variety in absolutely every single day. It's always different. You never know what's going to happen. But you've also got variety in the product that you get to work with because, of course, we've got this beautiful, natural, wonderful product that couldn't get any better, and it changes as the seasons change, and so every day is different. And you get that instant gratification as well. So you're constantly making something. You can make 10 or more arrangements in a day, and so they're not long-winded projects. It's like quick, done, and you get to enjoy it and enjoy that beauty. But of course, the other enjoyment, and what I think where the greater fulfillment comes from, is that you are then helping out another person as well, and sometimes more than one person. And so so the fulfillment that comes with that is just exponential. So I know everyone here in this room would have either received or given flowers at some point, and being moved by the experience. Because essentially a florist, the role of a florist is like a translator. So they'll take an emotion or a message, they'll translate it, and the language is the flowers, and then the great florists will transport that message through to the other person, and that emotion is felt right in here. And so that's essentially the role of a florist. It's not selling flowers, which is what many people will describe it as. Although selling is important, so we do teach you how to sell the flowers as well, because if we don't sell them, we don't get to make them. So that's an important factor. So we'll go through the course components and what are some of the outcomes that you could achieve as well. So from it, you could certainly become a floristry business owner. Having said that, though, if you don't have any previous business experience, then you would need to go and do some type of business training or course, or do some follow-on business courses with us, or something along those lines. But some people come to us and they've already got previous business experience, and so now it's about learning the skills, the practical skills of floristry, and the theory and knowledge as well. So they'll learn that, and then they'll take that and they'll use their business and marketing knowledge to blend that in. You could go and become a retail florist, so you could certainly go and work for another floristry business owner. You could become a wedding and event specialist florist, and that seems to be one of the most popular ones right now. You could work in a hotel, so some hotels will have a specific florist. One of my other loves is skiing, and so I was lucky enough to be the florist at Mount Buller for a season, so I got to ski and do the weddings and the flowers at the hotels. And one of Natalie's loves is tropical islands, and Natalie got to be the florist at Hayman Island for a while, so that's a pretty good gig too. So there's so much opportunity outside of what we would just put in a box of what a regular florist does. So it is wide and far. You could end up on a cruise ship. They have florists on cruise ships. Is anybody here know how to operate a yacht? No, I certainly don't either. But if you do, or you want to learn that skill, to be a florist as well is actually a really good mix. Because interestingly, they could only have a really small crew on a yacht. And when I mean yachts, some of them they're massive. They're not small boats, they're massive yachts. But they can't have big crews. And so if you have also the skill of being able to do the flowers on them, because they can only be classed as a 6-star yacht if they have flowers. And so you could go and travel around anywhere doing that as well. So I like the sound of that gig, but I'm probably not right for it. So I don't have sea legs. Certainly you can go overseas, because these skills are transferable. You can work anywhere. You really can. So as long as you can speak the language, or maybe even you don't even need to actually, you could just go and work anywhere. I know, florists from Australia that have worked in Germany and all sorts of places. You could be a corporate-only florist as well. So it's particularly for people who only want to do a Monday to Friday gig. You don't want to do weddings and events. A corporate-only florist is a really good option. Okay, so working Monday to Friday and just servicing businesses. Or a subscription florist. So the difference between a corporate florist and a subscription florist is essentially corporate is regular weekly flowers that are delivered to a business. Subscription flowers are weekly regular flowers but delivered to a residence. So one's a home market and one's the business market. Okay, so only slight difference there. So what I didn't explain was why we've put together the career change course. So myself, Natalie and Nicole, we were all TAFE teachers, floristry teachers in the TAFE sector, and what we came to find was that there was a bit of a gap for people who really wanted to change careers. So there is the certificate course for apprentices, which is beautifully and perfectly designed for apprentices, early school leavers. But what we found was that, particularly those wanting to change career, that course, it did have some issues around that, particularly in around flexibility as well, and also learning things that perhaps you already know, having been out in the workforce already. There's a lot of skills and knowledge that you bring to the table as well, which is one of the things that I love most about when we follow up with our graduates and see them and they stay part of our community, is that, for some, they've been in marketing or all sorts of different things, interior design, so many different areas where they've worked, and then they bring those skills into their floristry career as well. And so it becomes a really unique offering. You're someone that's offering something completely different to the rest of the industry. And so what I'm also finding though is that it's raising the bar and it's raising the level of floristry in general. So we're coming up with I think a better industry as a whole because of that. So to give you a bit of an idea around some of our previous graduates, we'll have a look at some of those now. So this here is Marielle, and she's from Blossom Collective. So you're very welcome to get your phones out now if you wanted to have a look, and so that you can follow Marielle at Blossom Collective. She's a fabulous florist, and she's doing some amazing things. So you can be inspired by having a look at Marielle, and also Natalie Shora at Wild Floss. Again, very different work to Marielle. Everybody has their own style, and just some really, really stunning work that we see from Wild Floss. So Natalie and Marielle both have they've started up their own businesses. Marielle was a teacher, and Natalie, can you remember Natalie's previous career? Hospitality, that's right. And next then we have that's okay, thank you. We've got Sam Saginelli. So I don't know if anybody ever watched the show Dream Job. I think it was on Channel 7. Channel 7 put together a program called Dream Job. You saw it? Yeah. And so one of our current students was on the show, and she got to work alongside Sam. So Sam is the senior florist now at Tory Allen Events. And so Sam works with brides and event planners and organisers and big companies around Melbourne, and they put together some amazing events. So it's also worth following Tory Allen Events if you'd like to see some really beautiful, inspirational, incredible marquees that they decorate, and some pretty amazing, beautiful stuff. So that's three of some of our many graduates who are out there in the industry and doing some amazing things, and really happy that they made the switch to floristry. So let's now have a look at what you'll learn, and I'll bring in some of the team to cover that off with you as well, so you don't get sick of hearing my voice for too long. So Nat's going to come in and discuss with you some of the different floristry components. You want that sheet, Nat?
No. Oh, you are? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, hi everyone, welcome to Bloom. I'll just go through a bit of the components of the actual floristry that we do in this course. Just put my glasses on so I can read a few of my notes. So with the career change course, a lot of it is hands-on floristry, a lot of it is practical. Every class you will be working with flowers. There is a little bit of theory in there because we have to put some theory in there, but every class you'll be getting your hands dirty and you'll be processing flowers and making something every class. Most classes you make, the minimum would be one, but most classes you make 2 or 3 items every class. So it's pretty full on. You've got to be ready to come in and get your hands dirty and work hard. But you will absolutely love it, because that's what you all want to be here doing. You all want to be here arranging flowers and learning about flowers. So that's every class we do that. So we cover probably the three main areas in floristry, in the techniques. The first one is anything hand-tied. So that covers like bouquets, posies, anything that you make in your hand, we cover that hand-tied. So there's lots and lots of different styles we cover in that hand-tied area. The next area is what we call base medium. So anything which is made into a base, like anything made into a pot. So we use different types of base mediums. We use a lot of chicken wire now. We've gone very green here at Bloom, and we try to be very sustainable and recycle things, and we really try to eliminate nearly all of the floral foam from the course. We still show it to you and we teach you how to use it, because it's still a big part of floristry, but we also show you the alternatives to using the foam. So that's what we're trying to encourage you to do. So yeah, that's the base medium. So any type of arrangement, anything made into a pot, a vase, that type of thing. And the next part is the wired items, so the wired techniques. So that's anything more kind of wedding related, like corsages, buttonholes, flower crowns, things like that, where you're cutting the heads off flowers and actually learning the techniques of wiring them and then putting them together. So hand-tied, base medium and wired. We also do a little bit of gluing as well in that third area. So that's more of a newer technique, the gluing, but we teach you that as well. So there's stacks and stacks to learn. There's a lot in there. We cover as much as we possibly can in the time, but a really broad range of different things. You'll learn a lot. We try to, or we do, expose you to as many different types of flowers as we can. So you won't be using like carnations every week or gerberas every week. Whatever's in season, we're a bit like chefs like to use, seasonal product. Another big thing that, really important thing at Bloom is we try to use as much local product as we can. On occasion, we have to use imported products if, they're just not in season or not available. But we always try to support our local growers as well, because we grow such a lot of flowers in Victoria and in Australia. What's the ratio?
40%.
Sorry?
40% of Australia's flowers are grown in Victoria. But yeah, the flowers.
Yeah. So we've got an industry here, and we want to keep that. We want our own, support our own industry, and why not? So yeah, that's all part of the choices we make as well when we choose the flowers for you to use, being seasonal and as much local product as we can, which is pretty much nearly all of it.
Pretty much.
Just
yeah.
Occasionally it'll be something imported. I can't think of anything else, although
I think that's pretty covered.
Yeah?
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, good. All right. Well, if you have any questions anyway about the content, we can cover them later.
Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Nat. Thank you. And Cole's going to cover excursions.
Speaking of growers, yes, nice segue there. Yes, I get to talk about the fun stuff, the excursions that we go to. So like Natalie mentioned, the growers. So that's an excursion we do. We all go out and we drive to Monbulk together as a class, and we go meet those growers that do provide those flowers for us. The ones, and it's not very far away. It feels like it is, but it's not. And it's a beautiful day. And you can see the difference some of those growers do with their technology. Some are very modern, some are very traditional. And so you can see the difference that each of those have. Once you meet those growers, you'll want to buy from them as well. And once you make that connection, which is what we all have, we would like to encourage you to make the same connection with them. We also do a nice excursion to the market. So that's a nice early one. We've got this Saturday, which Amanda and I are going to. So we meet in the classroom at 4:45, which is actually late for market. As Alyssa can tell you, she's there quite often. So nice early start. I think it was -1 last year when we went. So it was a nice introduction for our students, but it is a really fun morning. We get to buy while we're there. We get to meet everyone. So we try and introduce you to as many people as we can, many suppliers, because it can be intimidating when you start to know where to go and who to speak to. You also see the first pick of all the flowers that we have. So it's very exciting, it's very fun, and you come out with a handful of flowers. We also head to the Flower and Garden Show, the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show, which we have a stand at every year. Which, has anyone been? Did you see a stand? It was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah. That was designed by the teachers here. It's a really fun day. You get to see everyone else's stands. We get to see what's happening in the industry, what everyone else is providing. There's international florists there. It's a really good day out, so we all go together for that. Where else? And we go to meet the wholesalers. So with the market moving to Epping, there's a lot more wholesalers that have opened up around the suburbs. And so we get you to meet them, introduce you to some of them so you can build up a rapport with them and start your accounts and start buying some flowers. So it's really nice to see where they all are, find out which one's best for you. If the morning 3 a.m. doesn't suit you to get up to the market, there's wholesalers around. And we also bring some into the classroom. So Jeff Edwards is someone that we bring in, and he's the ribbon man. So ribbons are huge in floristry, and he brings his van and we go and have a look at all these ribbons, and he'll come back a few times. He's got ribbons and vases, and they're very nice ribbons and vases. So we can always find an excuse to top them up in the classroom.
You never have too many ribbons.
No. I have every colour. All vases. So he comes in and we can call him back when we need him. So we just get you to introduce to a few people so that you're not scared to make that step yourself. So I think that's really helpful. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
And what else are we back to you?
Thank you. And the other thing to add to the wholesalers as well is, as a Bloom College career change course student, you also get what we call a buyer access card. So we've been able to ask very kindly to our suppliers, and what they've agreed is that for Bloom College students only, for that course only and during the course only, you get access to purchase from them at the same price that we get to purchase. So you get access to wholesale flowers, because it's really important that all of those components that Natalie was talking about, that you're practicing them during the course as well. So it's not enough to just make something once in class, because unless it's like a fluke or you're a complete natural, most of us will never master something the first time we make it. And so it is about practice. And so to make it more accessible to you, you've got access to the flowers at wholesale prices, which is approximately a third of the price as to what you would pay retail. So it makes it a lot more achievable to be able to practice a lot more. And what many of our students will do also is, after class, they'll go home and take apart what they've made and remake it and practice it over and over again, or perhaps take it apart and then practice something from the previous week. But to also make that a lot easier for you, we've also got an online component to the course. Some of you may have read this previously. For those who haven't, it's essentially like an online portal where we have previously recorded all of the demonstrations throughout the course. And so you'll be able to go home at the end of each class, and then you receive access to those classes online to go back and watch the demonstration. Now, you never lose access to any of that, because the reason being is that, sometimes a demonstration can take 45 minutes. And so you can imagine how much information we're giving you in that 45 minutes. And there can be a lot of steps in some of the more complex arrangements. And so if you hadn't made it maybe for 6 months or longer after the course, and then you're requested to make it, it's going to be much easier for you to go back and watch a video demonstration on that again. So we've only just in the last 2 years, I think, developed that and brought that into the course, and so I think it's something really valuable. We don't switch it off, so as long as Bloom College is around, you have access to that for however many years to come. Okay. So another really exciting component to the course, and when we get the feedback forms, this is one class that many pick as one of their top favourites of the class, and we call it the event styling class. And so essentially you'll learn how to decorate chandeliers and arbours. What else do they do? Alyssa's our teacher of that particular class.
Garlands and a lot of suspended stuff. The arbours here, large pole arrangements, just all the modern, whatever's happening in the industry.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah, and so Alyssa also comes in and shares with you her wealth of knowledge and years of experience in specialising in weddings and events, which she still does today. And so it's really up-to-date information, but she's also so open and giving and sharing in telling you the good, bad and the otherwise as well, because there's a lot of stuff that you can learn from hearing other florists that have made mistakes in some areas and then learnt from it and then developed and grown businesses as well. So she's very, as I said, open and giving and sharing in all of that information, and so it's a really valuable class. And then of course we cover off things like costing, the retail components to floristry. So even if you're looking at having an online only business, you're still retailing, you're still selling, and so you need to understand the best ways of doing that, and sales and marketing as well. So marketing's in literally everything now, and so it is really important. Even if you're wanting to go and work for other people, you need to have some understanding of how that fits in and working out your own personal brand as well, because you may work for somebody else, but you're still your own personal brand as a florist that you need to be able to put forward for the industry to find you, and then to be able to want you so that you can be a well sought after florist, whether you're freelancing or having your own business. We also cover things like the elements and principles of design. So the elements and principles of design is something that's universal. So whether you're in architecture, fine art, interior design, so many different, even beauty, like so many different industries use the elements and principles of design. And so we use them in floristry as well. And so we teach you how they specifically relate to floristry, because they're essentially our guiding principles on how we do what we do, which is lovely because it opens our world up to greater creativity. Previously in floristry there were very strict rules on a certain amount of flowers and colours and colour schemes and all of this very strict guidelines that we had when I started and Nat started, and so we've just got all this much greater freedom now as florists, which is only a good thing. Then we have photography, which I think Alyssa's going to come up and chat with you about the specific photography class that we have and how valuable that is during the course.
Hi everyone. So included in the course is a photography class. We have a lady, a photographer called Sarah Taylor, who pops in and holds an interactive workshop. She teaches you how to take photos of flowers. It sounds really simple, but flowers are quite difficult to photograph. So I've been a florist for 20 years, and I took this course with Sarah and my students only a few weeks ago now, and learnt so much valuable information. So she it's fun and interactive. She's great personality. She keeps it really interesting. Social media photos are really important for social media these days, and to get the right shot can be really quite hard. So she goes through a lot of different ideas and teaches you how to take a great photo. She also helps you learn how to be quite confident in front of the camera yourself. It's really important to also show your personality through obviously your flowers, but your social media as well. So a lot of people tend to shy away from the camera and just want to put their product up. But it's, people out there want to see the person behind the blooms. What else? What else does she do? She helps you recognise your brand as well. So she talks about marketing and just how to get your brand out there the right way.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. And then we're going to cover off some of the botanicals as well. So perhaps you could show this book. And then I'll go to the next one. Thank you.
So you have a great resource book here, the Floristry Botanicals. So this comes with many, many flowers and foliage. So you'll have the botanical name, the common name, how to tell if it's good quality, gives you some other details and specific conditioning and care and storage needs, because every flower needs to be looked after differently. It also we'll also go through some alternatives. Each class we introduce the blooms that we're going to be using, and we talk through the seasonal availability and seasonal replacements if needed. So you'll have that to take home. There's lots of space there and activities that you can have at home to do some research and fill that out in your spare time, which really helps you to learn as well. So you can read all about each flower, but when you're actually doing a little bit of research and writing it down, it helps you to learn and stick in your memory also.
Great, thank you. So certainly being a well-educated florist will put you in good stead in business, but also obviously for working for others as well. Your customers want to know that you understand your product, and so the more you understand it and the more that you share information around it, the more they're going to want to work with you or employ you and do business with you. So that book's really valuable, and we've created that by choosing what we feel are the most commonly used flowers within Victoria. The other book that's part of the course, and obviously all included, now this is a part textbook, but also has some practical at the back as well. We believe in fun learning and adult learning, and so we will never sit there and say, could you please turn to page 45 and read paragraph 10? There's none of that. We expect that you want to learn floristry so much and you want to be an educated florist that you'll read this in your own time. But a lot of it is covered in class as well, and so we try and do that as holistically as possible, and so a lot of it will come during demonstrations. There are some straight theory classes, but there aren't many. And so what's also in the back is step-by-step images of the different arrangements, and so this book is really handy to have during the course with you. The other book you would really leave at home, but this one is really handy to have in class because you can sit and take notes whilst the teacher's demonstrating as well. So that's a really good resource. And again, we're updating it all the time. So these two are in update at the moment, and they'll be slightly different for our next course. And that's one of the things that we're very lucky to be able to do, because we're not governed. We don't follow the national training package. We can flex and move and change our course and update it every single time we run it. We don't have to wait 4 years and have the industry approve it or the government approve it or anything like that. As new things are coming in and new things and old things are going out, we're changing it and we're flexing it and we're updating it. And some things we've even updated during the course as well, because things have come in and they're new and we're like, okay, we're on it, and it's now in the course. So we're fortunate to have that flexibility to be able to do that. So they're the two workbooks. We've also got the toolkit as well, which I will show you. So as I'm sure you're all aware, it's all included in the course fee. These are wires. So Natalie mentioned wired arrangements. These are your kit, your home kit for wiring. So you've got one of every possible size there. And some tape as well, which I don't have within this kit, but you'll get tape and you'll get sharpeners and different things. This is the basics kit. gloves as well. So, can't remember what year it was, but anyway, 28 years ago, it certainly wasn't cool or accepted to wear gloves as a florist. In some circles, it still isn't, but it certainly is here, and it's recommended. Not for whilst you're arranging, but certainly when you are removing leaves from stems, because some of those stems, depending on where they came from, have been covered in chemicals, so that's going in your hands. But also, I don't know if anyone's still going out on dates, but if you are, it's nice to have nice hands. So, we also want to be able to use the right tools as well. So these are for cutting your flowers, and these are for cutting foliages. So we have, we took a long time to find the right tools, and that's what we've got. So we also have obviously an apron and a hand towel as well. So you'll be happy to know that these are black now. We made them white for a while, and that was a bit mean, wasn't it? So we've gone back to black. All right. So we nearly covered it off. Internships. So as in every single industry, one of the hardest things is getting a start. Everybody wants someone with experience, and yet they're not willing to be the people to give the experience. And so we do work hard with industry. It's not easy. And so for that reason, we can't ever guarantee everyone a placement, because we have to get the industry to approve that. However, there are some in the industry who are very open and giving, and when they have availability, they definitely take our interns on. But we're also quite particular about where you go as well. So there are some places we wouldn't allow you to go or want you to go or suggest that you go. Alyssa also takes a number of interns because she owns the studio in Collingwood, where we do run classes as well. So is there anyone here that's been to the Collingwood studio and done classes there? Yeah? Oh, excellent, great. So Alyssa does that as well. And we're working on how we can develop some opportunities for you here as well for intern placements. So a lot of questions come up around the internship. How long does it go for? How many hours am I expected to do it? And all of that. It's very flexible. We don't have too many rules around it. And so it is an agreement between you and wherever you, whichever business that you may go to. So it's very flexible. It needs to work in with you and your current work and your lifestyle as well. Now the portfolio. So the portfolio is, I guess, kind of like the end outcome. It's what you end up with, and it has to be digital. And it's what you put forward to the industry as a whole, whether it's, again, clients or employers. And it's essentially a showcase of what you've been able to achieve through your time here with us at Bloom College. We have two specific, or I think it's 2.5 classes now, specific classes where you get to bring in your own flowers and materials and put together some amazing arrangements. It's really an amazing 2.5 days of watching people really bring their personality out into their arrangements, and we've got photographic areas to photograph and put together a really amazing looking portfolio. So even people who we've had people who have struggled to operate their email, and they've put together a beautiful looking digital portfolio. So as I said, it's the best way to showcase what you're capable of and what you've learned. And the reason why we suggest it must be digital is because at the end of the course, when you're a Bloom College graduate, we welcome you into our graduates Facebook page, and that's where we post job offers. We also have businesses come to us and want us to do specific jobs. We'll post that out into the graduates Facebook page. One of our previous students, Anna Stretton, I once posted out that a event company was looking for a florist to have on board as a full-time florist, and essentially it's like running your own business, but their work is there, you don't have to go and look for it. And she was the first one on. She emailed her portfolio straight away and she got the position, and she's in full-time employment with an event company. She's got her own workroom set up, she's no overheads, and she's just absolutely loving it. And so if she didn't have the digital portfolio ready to go, she couldn't have got that off to them so quickly and been on it quicker than anybody else. So that's why it's really important to do that, and those opportunities come. So before we throw to any questions, I just wanted to let you know what's available this evening for anybody who's ready and courageous and knows that this is what they want and they want to step forward with it and they want to make sure that they're going to make it happen. So because I know how scary that can be, but I know how rewarding it can be to make those, take those actions. I've put together these particular offers. So these are our new favourite accessories. Like, we love them more than handbags, and we love handbags. These are pelt and hide tool belts, and they're handmade leather. They're handmade in Western Australia, in Perth, and they're absolutely beautiful. And now we all, as a team, wear them because they really are the best. And especially when we're on site and when we're doing events, you can just flick them around, turn them around, and get them on the back. So when you're going up a ladder, you don't really want your tools here. And so they're really beautiful. They are high in price, but anything really well made, especially handmade, tends to be. So if you were to sign up and just make that decision tonight, then you will receive a free tool belt. So they're valued at $250. So we have three different colours. So depending on how quick you are to decide, you may get to choose a colour. And then the second offer is, I haven't got the book here, but if you were to pay your deposit this evening rather than pay in full, then you'll receive a free floristry book, because one of our other great loves are floristry books. And so you can never have enough, and we get so much inspiration from them. If we're ever stuck with inspiration, because sometimes it can take a bit of energy and effort to get that, and so if we've had to really work it hard, sometimes we need inspiration from outside sources. And so looking through a floristry book does it almost every time for us, doesn't it? So we want to gift you with a floristry book, one that gives you information, but it's also inspiring as well. So it's not just a coffee table book, which are also nice, but it's also jam-packed with lots of knowledge and information as well. So we've got a little clip to show you, and then we'd love to hear if you've got any questions.
I've got so much joy out of teaching, but also out of floristry and flowers themselves.
It can cater for beginners, it can cater for people who've got their own business, who are starting their own business.
Just trim it to about 2.5 hands. But if it's a really big bouquet, you could go longer.
Okay, now I'll do something that I want to do. Not something I felt like I should do, but that I wanted to do. I've always been a creative person myself.
Yes.
I've always been into art and design and that sort of thing. So I thought, well, I love nature as well. So I thought, why not, enter into my own creativity and
do something for myself, so that's what made me come into floristry.
So I am just literally piercing it through the calyx.
You had a sign here about dare to begin.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, just dare to begin it and then see where it takes you.
Just watching that reminded me that one of the ladies in the clip, Emma, was explaining to us how she, as part of her presentation, and she was saying how, she just got into uni because she got the score and she got in and she went and she did it, and then later on realised that it just wasn't exactly what she wanted to do. And so, as you see, she made the switch. So I just wanted to also run off, a lot of people say, what are the things that are so good about being a florist? Like, what is it? Why is it so good? So I've just made a list, and this is not an exhaustive list, it's just a quick list that I just made. As I said before, it's rewarding multiple times a day. There's variety, it's always new. It's hands-on, so you're getting to actually do something with your hands. You're mostly standing all day, which now desks are becoming standing desks because we know that it's a healthier option as well to be standing. This is from another previous graduate. She was a lawyer, and she was a lawyer who had to serve notices to people, like physically serve them. And she said, now I'm delivering flowers and people are for the first time happy to see me when I arrive. So I used to serve papers and now I serve flowers and I get smiles instead of what I used to get. And so that is true. Everybody's always happy to see you. You can go anywhere. The skills are transferable. For some, it becomes like you can have it as a part-time gig as well. It doesn't have to be full-time. You can do weddings on the weekends and keep your current day job if that's what you wish. For many, it becomes very flexible, and so if you have children or you want to have children and you want to work from home, you can do that as well. So really flexible hours. For me though, one of the things is that it's that also inner joy that it brings as well. And so what I've learnt to understand without previously knowing is that floristry puts you into a parasympathetic state. And so a sympathetic state is when we're in that flight or flight mode and where we can be really anxious and stressed. And so floristry has the ability though, because of its therapeutic nature and the energy that flowers are carrying as well. So there's two components to it. There's the actual flowers, but then there's the creativity component of it as well. And that can help to put you into that parasympathetic state where you're just in a state of flow. You can forget about time, and I have done that, which has been a negative, but when you've got kinder to pick up from. But arranging flowers, you can just totally get lost in it and thoroughly enjoy yourself. So they're my top reasons, and I think that there's probably a lot more. But now I invite you to ask any questions that you might have in regards to the course, any questions that have come from the group, because they might be questions that other people have as well and maybe just haven't even thought of. Otherwise, we can answer any questions one-on-one. So is there anything we haven't covered that you had burning questions? Yes?
Options for different courses,
Great.
You've got three days a week and that's
Correct.
once a week.
Yes, so the next course running right now, about to start I should say, is September, and that's across 3 days a week. So we used to run that 4 days a week, which was a popular option, but it was also very, very intensive, because some days you can be making 4 arrangements in a day, and so times that by 4, you're doing a lot, and it's a lot to take in and not a lot of time to do the practice, which is really important. So we've stretched it out. You've also got now a school holiday break in between, so there's also a 2-week break to be able to have some time off again and practice and let all of that new information soak in. So that's the next option that's coming up. The most popular option is the Saturday. Now we already have bookings, So, and as I said, or as you can see here, we've got limited space. And so we already have bookings for that. It's our most popular. So that's Saturday. That's across 6 months. So it's every Saturday for 6 months, with the exception of, again, the Victorian school holidays. They are breaks in between as well. And then we also have a 2-day option, and that is Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That's also starting in March. That's also starting in March. And so that's every Monday and Tuesday for 10 or 11 weeks. I'd have to double check that to be exact. Yeah, so and that's an equally popular option. Yeah, so thank you. Good question, because I should have covered that. Thanks. And the hours are 9 till 4.
Yes.
I don't know whether you covered this before.
Sure.
So, what's the maximum of people that you have in a class compared to the teacher?
Yeah, so the maximum we can take is 15.
15, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Gives you plenty of time, the teacher plenty of time to...
Absolutely. Yes, there is never there is never a class, because it's policy, there is never ever a class where you won't get that one-on-one interaction. Yep, and guidance. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Just with the range of the talk and the question we had when they start and the types they are.
Yes.
Is that there'll only be those sort of 3, they don't, so if you don't do the September one, 3 days, is it next September that would run?
Correct. Yeah. Yes. Yes. The other option that we'll have is Collingwood as well. So Collingwood's currently running those, so we don't have another one scheduled just yet. So we'll just be taking applications, so like expressions of interest for the next Collingwood course at this stage. But yeah, at the moment, those 3 are the only ones open for booking. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions, or we covered it off? Oh, good. Excellent. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope that we get to see you again somewhere else, or maybe you'll come to or watch us on Bloom TV, follow us on YouTube, download our app, any which way that you might like to learn floristry. We hope that you choose to do it with Bloom College. So thank you for coming, and we look forward to answering any questions that you've got. Thanks. Thank you.